And they absolutely loved that presentation. And they said that was one of the big reasons I got that role. And they were also looking for somebody who could do text analysis. So it happened to fit neatly into what they were looking for.
Yep. What's it like coming in as you know, you're you're the first person in the role, but you're new to the role itself because you were a career changer coming into this. I know you worked with data previously.
It's exactly what I expected. I am using everything I learned at Meharry.
Mhm.
They're very big on surveys and feedback. And I've worked on, I want to say, 3 or 4 surveys so far in terms of creating them, getting them out to the employees they need to go to and actually analyzing that data. The biggest survey I worked on is our team engagement and experience survey, where twice a year we get the temperature on how employees feel about working at Instruction Partners. And for the first time, we have that data available online to the people who need access to it. Before, everything was done in a spreadsheet, and if somebody wanted to look at a certain cut of data, it would have to be done manually and sent that way. But now it's on Tableau Cloud. They can go out and look at it whenever they want to. They can filter it in the ways we allow them to filter it. We also maintain anonymity, so if they filter it a certain way, they won't be able to see the data, but for the most part, they can see whatever it is they're looking for without us having to go back in manually and dissect the data for them.
What did you learn to help you the most as you went through this? Particularly as a career changer, kind of repositioning yourself, with the degree, of course, but still, you're going after a different type of job.
So I think my experience was unique in that I guess in the my next to last semester in Meharry, I left my previous job to focus on school and to focus on some other personal things. And after graduating last spring, I said to myself, I'm going to take a few months off just to sort of recuperate because I'd had, with the pandemic and school and work, I'd had, excuse me, a hectic 3 years at that point.
Mhm.
And I looked for a job passively on LinkedIn, looked on LinkedIn. I'd look at Glassdoor. I'd go to websites of companies and organizations I knew. And at the time I was looking, that would have been the summer of 2023. It became obvious quickly that there was some slowdown happening in the hiring, especially among tech jobs. And as we know now, tech companies have been laying people off left and right. And the previous year, I'd actually interviewed with Instruction Partners for a different data role that I ended up not getting, but someone I knew in Instruction Partners knew that they had this role open and they were having a hard time filling it. So she talked to the hiring manager about me, and HR reached out to see if I would be interested in applying for the position. Of course, I was. And I went through their process, which I guess from submitting my application until my start date was about 2 months, and I got the job. And one of the interesting things they said to me in going through that process, you're gonna love this, Matt, was one of the questions was, "Give us a 5-minute presentation on the subject you," a scaled down version of my capstone project, which
Love
I
that.
did on analyzing hip hop lyrics.
Mhm.
And they absolutely loved that presentation, and they said that was one of the big reasons I got that role, and they were also looking for somebody who could do text analysis, so it happened to fit neatly into what they were looking for.
Yep. Is pursuing a data science role any different than any other role, in your opinion?
I think it is in that many roles now, and I saw this when I was looking at job descriptions and when I applied for this role, they wanna see proof that you can actually do the work, so they're requesting projects. Either they give you a project and a topic, to do a data project on, or you may send them your GitHub, or you may have a website, but they want to see proof that you can actually do what you say you can do and what it is they need you to do. So I actually did my project from scratch, and they gave me the option to either choose my own data set or I could use an educational data set. And I actually found a data set of Adidas sales data that I thought was interesting. And I was able to show them that I knew how to go through the process of exploring the data, analyzing the data, and presenting the data in a way they can understand it.
Thinking in terms of advice to, let's say, some of our graduates that might be, on the job search here soon, what advice do you have for any of them, particularly if they're a career changer like yourself?
I would say don't focus on the name of an organization or the job title so heavily. Find out what it is that organization needs and appeal to that. And you don't have to go out to Silicon Valley and work for one of those big companies. You don't have to work for the most famous company in the world. Find out what skills you have that you can help them solve their business problems and go for it. There are a lot of smaller companies and organizations that need data people that don't necessarily have the same reach as those larger companies, but they can still provide you with a fulfilling experience.
Is there anything specific about the program that you say you really rely on or really helped you or is helping you, I should say?
So my main tools I've used so far are Tableau and Python, and I'm gonna use R soon on another project. But in Python, learning how to set up my notebooks, learning how to actually look at the data to say, okay, maybe this area to use more analysis, or what am I seeing here that's not so apparent? If I weren't, let me see I'm not sure how to phrase it. What relationships am I seeing that are not obvious? What is this data showing me? What is it telling me that we need to ask of it that we haven't thought to ask of it? With Tableau, presenting it visually, I think has been incredibly helpful because uh, you know, data people, we could get really in the weeds, we can get very technical, but at the end of the day, this data will be used by people who don't work with data every day. They need to understand it and they need to be able to use it to make decisions based on it. So we did when I took the class where we learned Tableau, like I really enjoyed that class and I still really enjoy working with Tableau now. But it's kind of been brought home to me like how important it is to really make sure that those who are not data technicians understand what the data is telling them and what that means for the decisions they make going forward.
So the communicating of your findings is as important, it sounds like, as the
Yes.
actual just analysis and kind of just looking in and like, what do I need to even, what is this data telling me without telling me?
Right.
Okay. That's very helpful.
And that'll be a big part of the next project I work on. I haven't started that project yet. But it'll be taking a look at it'll basically be a predictive modeling project. I can't go into too much detail, but taking a look at previous year surveys and determining whether or not we can actually predict sales going forward. And I think that'll be helpful for the organization. They've never had the capacity to do this before. It'll be the first time, and they've looked at like correlation and things like that, but it'll be the first time they can go into more depth with the data to see if there is anything else there that can inform decisions.
Mhm. That's great. And I think it's great that you are on board there at instruction partners and able to help them build this data team. I mean, who knows how they'll go with it, but I find it, it's kind of like with starting at the school. As you know, I was there at the beginning, as you
Yep.
were long afterwards. And, it's a very interesting time to see things grow. And we're doing a lot more now with research and the student population continues to increase, but it's fun to be there at the beginning. So you can kinda appreciate when you look back, so
Yeah. Yeah, and it's rare that you get the opportunity. Like, that's not it doesn't come around very often where you can actually build something from the ground and watch it grow up.